Hi, I'm Mike. This is episode 71 of Cup of Rad. What are we doing today, Katie?
Today it's all about Disney Plus.
On Cup of Rad. Okay, so it's spring break, which is...
It's been a weird spring break.
Definitely not a usual one. Everyone in the world is dealing with their own kind of thing. But we tried to have some fun with it because we got to stay indoors and enjoy some television. So
I figured we'd dig into some Disney Plus that we have kind of just been adding to our watch list and not actually getting to watch. So we took advantage of that. But first off, we got a few new fun things from Toy Traders.
We did. What did you score? What were you so excited for?
I am super, super excited. Miracle happened, and some figure arts of Sailor Moon showed up.
That's
so
right.
I actually got a Sailor Moon figure, which was super awesome. I'd kind of given up on the concept of getting it. So I got a Sailor Moon, and I also got Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus, which was fantastic.
So what are your thoughts on those figures? Because the Sailor Moon is older. It's one of the oldest figures.
Yeah, and that one there had like a first edition bonus with extra bits and pieces to it. It had extra it came like 6 heads or something like that. And it was cool because it came with Luna as well. And then the Sailor Uranus came with a special like heart faced for Sailor Moon as well. So I have tons of faces for Sailor Moon, which is really awesome. And I'm really happy with them. I got a couple different wands with Sailor Moon. I know because she's so old. What it said, 2008 or no? It was it was really old on there, and maybe it was 2013. I don't know. I thought
that's
it was
still old,
but still, it's old. Yeah,
7 years.
So the joints were a little questionable. Different style of joints too. You can see how much the technology has changed for all of their figures. You even have seen it in your Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
right?
Progression of the different styling of it, right?
Yeah. So but they're all set up on the shelf there, and now I just have Mercury and Venus left to complete. Other than Chibiusa, of course. There is that one. So I would always welcome that as well, but I'm not as concerned about it, quite honestly.
You want your core scouts, right?
Yeah. So I'm very, very excited to have added that. That was just like amazing find for sure, because they were good prices too. So I was planning from the beginning to get them, but I know you told me that you're like, I wasn't going to let you leave without them.
No. Because the last time we left, the next time we went back, it wasn't there. So
yes,
so
couldn't pass those up. That was just fantastic. So,
but we also scored something else that you were very excited for.
Yes, you found something on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my family's favorite movies is Princess Bride, and you know how much we love Cards Against Humanity as well. This is like a Princess Bride version of Cards Against Humanity feel. And it is called Prepare to Die. So it's the famous Inigo Montoya line of, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." So it's a play on that. And you have a "Hello, my name is" card. And then you have what they have done and why why they have to be prepared to die. So we're going to have an example here. Are we going to read one?
Yeah, we'll go back and forth. We'll do like the few rounds here.
So I have...
Well, no, here, I'll drop how we do. You pull your hello is.
Hello, my name is Salvador Dali.
Okay, so I got to go through what is going to aggravate you.
What is going to irritate Salvador Dali?
Here, let's, there we go.
Hello, my name is Salvador Dali. You ate my cake. Prepare to die. That's a good reason. Yeah. I'd say.
So, here we go. Hello, my name is Darth Vader.
Nice. Dun dun dun.
What's going to irritate Vader enough to scream out, "Prepare to die"? Hello, my name is Darth Vader. You chewed my bubblegum. Prepare to die.
I don't know who would have decided to do that.
Right?
Okay.
So the nice thing about this game too is that we're able to play with kiddo because it is 10 plus.
10 plus, which was really fun. We had little history lessons because there was some people in there.
There's characters you don't know.
We didn't know. And then there's fictional characters. There's real life people. There's all the people, both the actors and actresses and their characters from Princess Bride. Writers, directors, yeah. And like the other day, there was Twilight Sparkle in it as well. And then there was like hardcore like activists and like really important historical figures in there as well. So, hello, my name is Slim Shady. You wore that horrible sweater again. Prepare to die.
Okay, so hello, my name is Elvis Presley.
Oh.
What's going to get the king to get all excited?
This one, yeah. You know what? This one's funny because it doesn't make sense. There you go.
All right. Hello, my name is Elvis Presley. You tore my little back dress. Prepare to die. Oh, that got twisty.
Twisty.
So yeah, we picked this game up at Toy Traders. Who's it by? Sparkworks.
Who apparently have a whole bunch of Princess Bride themed games.
Yeah.
They have one that's actually meant to make choices. It's called Inconceivable.
Yeah.
So it's basically just like, I can't decide if I should do the dishes. And you pick you pick a card and it tells you if you should do them or not. Like, it's meant to break ties and all sorts of things. So
there was the Battle of Wits and all that and little things. So, but it definitely was fun. It was a really fun one to play with kiddo because it's completely kid safe.
Yeah.
Which
I was surprised about. It was really awesome to see that.
Yeah, because it's hard to find, because he knows that we play the Cards Against Humanity and all that, and he's like, well, I want to play a game like that, and it's hard to find those for families, right, that are just silly. So this was a really good addition to our pile of cards. They
also have blank ones, so you can create your own. So when we have to go through it all because we don't know if they're already in there.
Yeah.
But think about anyone that we want to add. And of course, we all went to our anime fandoms right now, so we'll see if any of them actually show up.
Yeah. I doubt the anime will show up then.
Oh, I know, but you never know.
We'll
right?
write it down, right? Well, the first one I thought of was You Killed Kenny, so prepare to die, right?
That totally is happening. So. Sure. So it's been good.
So it's a fun game. So if you're looking for another card game to get you through these days, Princess Bride, Prepare to Die. Okay, so usually we do a lot of RADnesia and stuff like that on spring break. This time it's been a bit different. We were a lot more things going on.
A little less planning involved because there's like weirdness happening.
Well, yeah, and like so much things getting canceled and moved and changed, and like you were full on like ready to see Mulan, and then it got moved to TBA, and like all it just weird going on. So it kind of threw us off for our usual watching schedule for things. But me and Kiddo are pretty much caught up on My Hero Academia, which is really fun.
Yeah.
We're right at the point where the dubs aren't there.
That's a weird thing. Yeah, we usually watch so much old stuff, and to actually have all caught up to waiting for new releases.
And even for like even just our TV you and me watch, we're all caught up. So it definitely is a weird feeling for sure. But we decided to crack open Disney Plus and look at a few things for our RADnesia episode of Spring Break. And one of the ones we did was Muppets Treasure Island.
Yes.
That's right. The Muppets took on the classic Treasure Island, the old sea salty pirate tale, filled it with banter and puns and vegetables. And songs and more humans than, say, their Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Extravaganza. But we had the pleasure of watching Tim Curry.
So I grew up watching the Muppet movie over and over and over again. I had not actually seen other Muppet movies. So I was very excited to see this. So this was a first round watch for me. If I had seen it, I do not remember it at all. So it was a RADnesia for you. It was a new, but it felt, fits the same category, I feel, because it's just so old. But that was super fun, and it's Tim Curry, so how can you go wrong?
Right. Tim Curry plays Long John Silver.
I love him so much.
In anything.
He's just amazing. So that was really fun to watch, actually. It actually wasn't. I wasn't sure if it would be kind of boring or anything like that, being a classic tale for some sort. But it was ridiculous and.
Well, trying to get kiddo excited in some of the older stuff too, right? Like the idea of saying like, "Hey, guess what? You know, just because it's not all bright and shiny and new, it's still fun."
Well, who knows? Maybe that's something that could prompt him to possibly pick up the book when he gets older, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, is the idea that it's a gateway. It's a gateway to get people interested in seeing it, and it brings in some of the humor and all that. And oddly enough, I love the Muppets. Mm-hmm. But getting him to watch the Muppets is like pulling teeth.
I know, it's weird.
Like, he's watched the newest movies, but like he's never really wanted to watch them again. It was just like...
It's like, oh, I've seen them now.
Yeah. And
well, I love the Muppet movie, the original one, like so much.
Yeah, and like he'll watch A Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol, he'll watch.
Yeah.
So that's why I was hoping Treasure Island here would be, you know, more in his league.
Yeah.
And he seemed to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But he still was kind of like, this is weird. Like, well, what's with the talking vegetables?
That's the best part of the Muppets. The talking cabbage and carrots. It's the best part.
I love the part, too, where they get the Swedish chef in there, and he's just got a pig nose tied onto him. They're like, how else do you expect us to get him into this movie?
Right? Totally breaking that wall there. Well, I liked when Kiddo... He's getting better at understanding the comprehension of movies. So that was fun when Long John Silver was acting a little bit weird. He leans over and he's like, Mom, this guy seems suspicious. Like something. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's perceptive of you at least. So he's being able to recognize more of those nuances. So at least he was paying attention. So that was a good thing. And got that right away, that something was wrong. So yeah,
he definitely picks up on when things are shifty.
Yes,
right.
He likes. I think he likes those words, so that really helps him.
So we watched that. You know, it's just as silly as I remember. It's not necessarily my favorite, but I always wish that they had tackled more classic literature, because I still think it was a great thing to get people talking about some of those ones that they could share with their kids, because maybe they don't want to watch the old stuff.
Yeah.
So I do wish that they would have been able to have actually done that with more books.
Yeah.
From back in the day. But that being said, something that's on Disney Plus that is something you should watch that is Muppet related is the new Muppet television show that they had put on ABC that only ran for one season. Basically, it's just the Muppets version of The Office.
It's so fantastic.
And no, it's not really for your kids. It's for you. And if you're a fan of the Muppets, and you like the actual old Muppet show where there was adult humor, you'll love this show. You know, they go out drinking one night.
It's like an old Mickey thing, too, where Mickey used to be a little bit more of a scoundrel feel.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it's more talking to that kind of concept where they're a little edgier, you know?
Yeah, so definitely check that out. And that's on Disney Plus.
Yes. That was sad that it ended
so quickly, because it was so funny. It was one of those ones like put on, I just laugh every time.
Maybe we should watch it again.
We should.
There you go.
That's something.
Yeah.
We definitely need to laugh.
I think. Binge. So let's see, what else did we watch?
Well, because spring break and St. Patrick's Day rolled more into each other.
And, you know, we aren't big, massive drinkers, and we couldn't go out anyway, so...
So we found an Irish movie.
Yes.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
You know, I'm impressed that Kiddo was like, sure, let's watch it.
Like, I tried hard to get him to watch other movies this spring break, and he was just like, no, pass, no, not into it, blah, blah. So then it was just a little like, hey, it's St. Patrick's Day. We should watch something with leprechauns and all that.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be on Disney Plus. There's Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Well, because when else would we have gotten the excuse to watch it?
I think that was why it like flew that day.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I had heard of it before, and I'm sure I have seen bits and pieces of it before. But I like the fact that Sean Connery suddenly showed up. I'm like, whoa, Sean Connery's here. This is awesome. He was so young and dashing. I mean, he got old.
That was prior to his Bond, right?
Yeah, like super young. Yeah. Like you didn't recognize him at first, and if you stared long enough and he kind of crinkled his eyes, you're like, oh my god, Sean Connery. So he didn't even like sound really like himself yet.
Well, it was interesting because like I remember this movie back from the old CBC days where like it would always come around once or twice, you know, during the Wonderful World of Disney, like the Sunday night kind of thing, right?
Where it was just like, what else are you going to watch? For
Yeah, you got nothing else to watch. Well, you have nothing else to watch because you only got one channel, right?
There's that too.
And so you're like, well, what else do I do? Well, okay, we're watching Darby O'Gill and the Little People. It's kind of like John Candy movies. Like, you can't have a spring break without watching a John Candy movie, right? Like The Great Outdoors.
We failed, man. We failed.
Well, his spring break's not over. There's this week coming up here.
True,
so
yes.
But
so I love the scene when he went in there and started playing the fiddle for them. It was like they were happy but also confused and all like tripping, and the camera was sped up and they just went nuts.
It was like catnip.
Yes.
It was like catnip for the leprechauns, and they just went for it.
Woo! And the little horses that came out.
Yeah.
I love that the little people have little horses.
Yeah, and they were just hooping and hollering and they were having a great time.
Leprechaun party.
Yeah. That it was slightly terrifying at the same time.
The Leprechaun King, he was a trickster.
He was a scoundrel.
There was a number of times where I yelled at him in anger.
So the whole premise of Darby O'Gill and Little People, if you have not seen it, is Darby O'Gill has had his run-in with the Leprechaun King many a times, and he tells stories down at the local pub, and he's a caretaker. And he's getting on in age and all that, and everyone doesn't believe him, thinks he's the old kook and all that, right? Because no one else has seen leprechauns. So he ends up catching him, the king.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what happened. I think it was editing, and I missed how he caught him.
Yeah, it just happened.
He just happened. All of a sudden, he was in a bag.
Yeah, and so then he's waiting on his wishes, because all the other times he's always like been tricked out of his wishes. Because if you wish 4 times, you lose all your wishes.
Yeah,
right. So it goes through all those steps and all these things, and he's trying to set up his daughter with Sean Connery, and so she's taken care of, and the lady, she's trying to set him up with like the local jerk.
Yeah, the local Gaston.
Yeah, it was basically just Gaston, right? He just thought he was, So, and then she gets attacked. And so there's something, I always thought it was scarier than it was, because like I remember the Banshee. That Banshee is scary. And then it came on, I was like, oh, wow. Because it's probably been a good 30 years since I've watched this thing.
Yeah, I hope that you're a little more accepting of things now.
It wasn't nearly as terrifying as I remember.
No.
So so he makes a deal with the to give himself up for his daughter, so the Banshee doesn't get her, and then then stuff
doesn't he
happens.
end up making extra wishes, so then everything disappears and everything reverts back to normal?
Yeah.
So he sacrifices them, for all that. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So heartwarming.
Yeah.
It was actually just a love story.
Yeah.
About family.
And it's crazy to think that like back then, because it was like the 50s, like that was a family movie.
Yeah.
And like it's a hardcore romance.
Yes.
With like just one scene of insanity when the leprechauns are tripping on fiddle music.
Yeah.
Like that's a
Now that would be a chick flick.
Yeah, right? Like literally there wasn't much.
Right.
It shows how much things have changed.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's interesting to think about just as a whole, like how family movies have changed, because now they're just all talking animals and fart jokes. Yeah.
Kids, I think, were expected to be a lot more either accepting of it or understanding of those types of things. Or just bored and just like, suck it. This is what's happening. Because we only have one channel and this is what's on.
I want to enjoy this too, and I want to feel special. You've got the leprechauns.
Right.
Deal with it.
So I think that's what that was. It was just lack of choices and
lack of options.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a pro to that too.
There is because kiddo watched it. He thought it was funny and a little weird, but you could tell a few times he was just like, "Wow, this is going on forever." And I think it was only like 70 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, that we experienced that.
But it was St. Patrick's Day, so
So there we go. We watched Leprechauns. So we watched a new movie.
It was a Disney original.
Yes.
It's called Timmy Failure.
Mistakes Were Made.
That's right.
Now this one here caught our interest. It seemed weird and quirky.
Yeah. The trailer was very quirky feeling.
Yeah, and so it's this kid that appears to have a best friend who is a polar bear. And
that alone, Canadian truce, right? Like,
yeah, right there. I mean, that's Mike's childhood, right? So so
bathed in polar bear milk.
See what that was. And he's a very serious looking kid, kind of awkward seeming and that type of stuff. So we wanted to know more about what this movie was, right? And what'd you think, Mike?
It's a strange movie. Like, it had its moments of like, that's kind of funny. But it definitely wasn't quite sure what it wanted to be.
Well, I'm conflicted with the message. I don't know what message they were trying to...
Because the child was infuriating.
He was horribly obnoxious. He was not a likable character at all.
No, not at all. Even in the end.
Yeah, and that was what was weird.
Like, the whole message, the whole theme of it was being yourself and being accepting of being yourself.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of it all, the child still never really seemed to learn a message of being okay with having to be part of the norms, the social norms of what it is.
Well,
like,
because it's the reality. Like, this was definitely something where I was like halfway through, I'm like, should I be showing kiddo this? Because this is kind of not sending the right message that I want to be. We both have always wanted him to be his own person and be very positive about his likes and his fandoms and his personality. I want him to be not feeling like he has to fit inside this little box.
Yeah.
But I'm also telling him there's responsibilities like school that have to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be a straight A student, but it means you have to put effort in. You have to actually care that there are things that are important to learn from school.
Yeah.
They're not the only things to learn in life, but they are also important things. And this kid... I mean, he's taking a test and he's drawing on his standardized sheet.
Yeah. Pig.
So it's not okay for them to, because he never learns that, oh, I should actually do my schoolwork.
Yeah.
Or I should actually take my test seriously. Or I should not disrupt all my fellow students. It's just, well, I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to do whatever I want because this is what I want.
Yeah.
And he never really learned that. And
there's no happy medium.
Quite okay with that
there's
message.
no like cross like...
Like, I felt like at the end of him, like, I had to sit with kiddo almost and be like, let's make sure we kind of finish the message here.
Right.
So I was happy with the weirdness of it, but it was a weird storyline.
Yeah, it definitely fell flat. I guess he did learn that he can't just drive a truck through a window.
He did learn that, yes.
Yeah, I guess he
did learn to
restraint.
Trust people a little bit more. And yeah, some restraint for things and to maybe not be so angry about people. Mm-hmm. So there was things that he did learn about caring about other people as well. But the consequence that he did have, she just gave it back to him without him really having to show much. And so I'm conflicted about it.
Yeah, like I say, it had some really funny moments and it was better than, like we just mentioned, like the standard like fart jokes and all that. I don't think there was a single fart joke in the movie.
No.
But yeah, there was just that extra message of it not. It was just basically saying just be yourself.
Well, because quite honestly,
damn the world.
As an adult, it's almost like a kid's movie for an adult to watch.
Yes.
Because there was an analogy on there about the polar bear almost represented his father.
Yeah.
Because his father had left.
Yeah.
And so, because he always called it Papa Bear, and there was a lot of the fact that he needed to cling to this polar bear, and it was very, very important to him. And it helped him. It was his buddy. It helped him get through things. Yeah. It gave him advice. It did all this sort of stuff, right? And because the polar bear showed up the moment after his dad left when he was very young. And so it's definitely an emotion, analogy for all that type of stuff. But let's be honest, in our world now and the way he acted, he almost came off schizophrenic.
Yeah.
There's no other nice way of putting that. I mean, he was full on talking to something that was imaginary, and
it was
the way
helping
it
move
was like
his.
It was like Beautiful Mind, kid edition.
Yeah, because he thought everything. He thought there were spies. He thought
I forgot about the Russians.
He was obsessed with Russians everywhere.
He assumed that there was Russians everywhere trying to, and that like this was
plotting out to get him,
like full on plotting this master plan. And I had forgotten about that. And Because that was not a good message to be sending to a child, that you're looking around for the Russians to attack, too. I'm like, seriously, what is this? So I'm not going to recommend this movie.
And the Russians look like hipsters.
Yes.
Food truck hipsters.
So this is all in Oregon. And so apparently Oregon is rife with Russians trying to take over with their master plan.
Their food truck.
With their food truck. Yes. Run by the Russian mob area is run by some little girl in elementary school, apparently.
That's like half Asian.
Yes.
Like,
it was
now talking about it, now I'm like,
I know, I'm saying out loud, I'm like, oh my God.
There's a slight racism.
Yeah. So not a great message. You can watch it with I would not recommend it for people with children, honestly. It was not, no, it really wasn't okay. No. It was weird.
The moment it gets talked out, then you're just like, oh, no.
I had to say that out loud. It is not good.
See, and sometimes talking out loud.
Yeah. At least Kiddo recognized the polar bear was not real.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't think that polar bear is there. I'm like thinking, yeah, I'm glad that you noticed that.
And he did say the things that he was doing was not appropriate. So at least we're parenting somewhat.
Yeah, he
right?
at least recognized that he shouldn't be doing that way in class, and he should, okay, well, that's a good thing. So
maybe there's that. You can have your kids learn a message.
Good luck. If they point out and be like, wow, why is he being so mean about the Russians? That's a good thing. Not be like, yes, die Russians. You never know. It's like, we're circling the drain on this, Katie.
Yep.
Let's stop.
Let's move on to the next one. All right. So the next one we ventured to was A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah. So this one here it intrigued me when it originally came out in theaters, but not enough to really say I want to go to the theater for it. Like, I remember reading the book multiple times when I was younger. I don't remember the story very well now. I remember bits and pieces of it, but not enough to be able to be like, oh, yes, I need to see this, or, oh, wow, this story is totally wrong. So for anyone who is a fan of the book and remembers it, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know. So I am just reviewing the movie.
Nothing.
So this was on Disney Plus, which was awesome. I was like, okay, well, take advantage of this, because I was really interested in the costumes, let's say.
Yeah.
The prettiness of the settings. There were so many colors, and I wanted to see how that played out. And so I said, you know what, boys, we are watching A Wrinkle in Time, because I know Kiddo he had no real reason to really care about it.
Well, we'd force you to watch Darby O'Gill, so I guess it's fair enough.
There was that. So it was a little slow going. I know you felt like it was jumping between things too much. Like, both you and Kiddo had a hard time just writing it out and seeing what happened. I was weirdly okay with it, because sometimes that bothers me. And I was like, okay, we have no idea what's going on and why things have happened and what's going on. But it was really, the central story is about the little girl, or the adolescent girl, that is
the adolescent
girl. That really, it's sad, because she hates herself so much. She's been destroyed because her dad's been gone for so long, and she's getting picked on, and it's that transition into a teenage, and it's all about her and trying to figure out her place, right? So weird things start happening, but I know that you were having a hard time with some of that.
Well, you know what it was like, it started out very, very interesting, and then it just jumped ahead, and then it just jumped into it scene by scene.
Mm-hmm.
There didn't seem to be a lot of transition-y kind of like information there.
Yeah.
And the brother just out of nowhere just seemed to know everything was going on.
He knew all the misses.
It was just like, it was full on just like, well, I know all this, and I had a hard time accepting that. I won't lie. It was kind of that feeling of like, well, why?
Yeah.
How?
And it made sense.
Where did it come from? Like, why are you able to do this? Like, what happened? How did this?
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of, took me out of it a bit.
Yeah. Even if there had been something that at least said, oh, okay, that was what was happening there, or something that gave you the feeling of where he would have learned about them. Yeah,
so it just made me feel the kid was shifty the entire time, and I didn't like him.
Yeah.
I was just literally like, this kid's a little jerk.
Well, the conspiracy now that Kiddo even thought of there was that you believe that he's like, what if the it had made him know about all this information and actually to draw them out?
Yeah.
So it was, I looked at it as if it was the positivity of childhood and that acceptance of the unknown, because he wasn't traumatized like his sister was, right? Meg was full of anger and questioning why her dad left, and that doubt, right? And self-doubt about who she was and everything. And the little brother just was super accepting and okay with everything, and just full of love and just full of light. So I see that as he was drawing the misses to them to him without even questioning, right? But apparently that seems a little too shifty and questionable to other people.
Well, he was all like so clean cut and like little suited out and all that, and
he looked like the young Sheldon.
He just made me feel like he was not on the up and up.
But I loved Mrs. Costumes.
Yeah, well, I think that's the whole reason why you want to watch it.
Yeah,
you just wanted a fashion show.
Yeah, they were so pretty and bright and weird. Okay, so what did you think of Oprah?
Okay, so I want Oprah to play Granny Goodness, because she literally just looked like Granny Goodness through the entire movie.
All of her costumes.
I'm like, you need to be on Apocalypse with Darkseid and like just literally like cracking those Fury's whips with the, because like all that chainmail stuff they had on her and everything, and the big like white hair at the one point. It was just, and she was larger, and I'm like, yes, Granny Goodness.
I like, how big she was. That was weird.
Right. There was some very incredibly skilled directing, like cinematography shots and like framing. Especially when it came to some of the human drama and all that. Like it was you could tell how good of a director it was, but I think it got muddied with this story because it had those moments where it was like super dramatic and I was like, yes, this is really good, and then it got a little like silly. Yeah. And they were like, it shifted its tone. Right. Well,
I think once they had the whole balancing room with the seer and explained actually what was going on, the movie got smoother and better after that. It didn't have so many like jump moments and questionable things. At least now you knew where the story was going and the purpose of it.
And the flying lettuce scene was really long.
It was. Flying lettuce. I like it.
Yeah, it was just like a flying lettuce.
It was. Yeah, I guess so. I just was thinking like leaf lettuce version of Neverending Story.
Yeah.
That's all I thought.
Never-ending story.
So, yeah.
So I didn't dislike it, but it was like, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite movie.
Like, I'm glad I watched it, but I'm definitely glad I didn't pay for it.
Yeah, it wasn't like
So that's where I am sitting with it, right? Like, it was fun and pretty to see, and I like some of the messages. Definitely better messages than Timmy Failure.
Yeah.
About, appreciating and loving yourself regardless of what you see as faults, and that faults can be beautiful things, and accepting things as well. What you see as a fault is just a trait necessarily. It doesn't have to have a positive or negative as well, right?
Yeah, and what did you come up with a parallel to a movie that because think of this movie came out last year in March. Yeah. And then this movie also came out this year from March, both from Disney.
Well, so I'm watching this and it gets to the end there, and the only reason why she defeats the it is because of course then they're on a journey to find their dad. And they defeat the it by realizing how important their relationship is. Meg realizes how much her love for her brother is so important and not so strong, and how much her brother loves her and accepts her for everything that she is, good and bad and everything. So it's all about sibling love more than anything. And then the father is a secondary thing to it. And I was like, whoa, this is like Onward.
Yep.
and that was trippy. To suddenly feel like that. It was like, the concept of that. And so, yeah, weird parallels with those.
And speaking of Onward, you should see it.
Definitely.
It's on video on demand, and then it's coming out in April, beginning of April, on Disney Plus.
Definitely watch it then.
Because of all that's going on in the world, they're releasing it early. So definitely watch Onward. I enjoyed it much more than this regular time.
Yes, I did too. I'm very excited to watch Onward again. Like, I would watch it no problem now. So
one thing that does scare me, though, with this new way of cinema that's happening, the fact that everything's being put to on demand, and or say like Disney's putting things right onto Plus, right? Frozen 2 came out early. Rise of Skywalker is going to be hitting it soon too.
Yeah.
And now Onward's going to be hitting it really fast.
What's going to die?
I'm really terrified that physical media is going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm scared for that is because we went to watch something and we found out we couldn't see it because it's not on anything in Canada.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu in the States, but the only way to get what I wanted to watch was to buy it through iTunes. I'm talking about The Last Man on Earth.
Which is an incredible show.
Which is hilarious for our world right now.
Like,
Creepy.
Really creepy, freaking out, yeah.
And I wanted to laugh at the apocalyptic setting that we're in. And yeah, so it's not on Netflix in Canada anymore. It's not on Crave, and you could only buy it through iTunes, and it was not a very pretty price to pay for. So I'll just have to keep it in my memory bank.
Yeah.
For that. But if you're in the States, Hulu is supposed to still have it on there. So Last Man on Earth.
Such a great show.
Will Forte. I'm growing my apocalypse beard.
So you say.
And, going haircuts.
I will only accept this if you let me shave half of it off at the end.
Well, it's got to go a few years then.
I know.
It's got to get big and bushy.
Okay, you're right. Never mind. I don't want it to go on that long.
It's going on that long.
No.
Because we're in an apocalypse world.
So I expect you to make ball friends.
Yep. I'm going to start putting little smiley face balls behind me.
Yep.
But anyways, so what are your final thoughts on, say, Wrinkle in Time? I veered really off.
No, it's okay. Again, as I say, I'm glad I watched it, and it had really pretty scenes and a decent message, but I watched it and now I'm done.
Yeah.
It didn't blow me away.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, I'm not comparing it to the story either.
Yeah.
But it did make me think, well, maybe I could revisit the story again. So I guess there's that part of it. Because I just now found out when we were at the bookstore there a couple weeks ago that it was a series that I did not know.
Yeah.
So that was interesting at all. And so maybe if that was its purpose, then maybe it did its job.
Yeah, it could be a gateway into finding more.
Yeah. So
with that, then back to the on-demand stuff. Not everything, but a lot of stuff is starting to go, called home premiere and all that.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm terrified for physical media to disappear and all that, something hit video on demand home premiere that we wanted to see in theaters, but we didn't get a chance because we couldn't find the time.
Well, and you really wanted to support its creation,
because The Invisible Man hit.
Yes.
And it was a video on demand price is usually like $6 or $7, right? And this was $20. Now, that being said, $20 seems like a lot to pay for sitting at home. But to go to the theater for the two of us, we're looking at like $27.
Oh, probably at least 30.
Yeah, okay. So it's already cheaper than going to the theater.
Yeah.
I can stay in my jammies.
Yeah.
I can drink whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can eat whatever I want.
I don't have to worry about anyone talking.
Just us. And so it's not a bad price, because then too, you think about it, if you got to put out childcare as well.
Yeah.
And I think this is what is scary for the new world, because it's going to be a long time before things reopen.
Yeah.
And even from that, people are still going to be shy to go do certain things.
Yeah.
And go back to the old ways of it all. There's going to be people that are super eager and they're just going to run gleefully towards it. And that's going to be amazing because it'll help the economy and everything will go boom, amazing.
Yeah.
But we're also not going to have as much money.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to go back to that $30 ticket price, right? So the cheaper $20 price tag is actually pretty good for a movie that just was in theaters like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. And now they're even looking at possibly putting things on there that haven't even hit their theatrical run.
Just so they can get some sort of money back right?
on it, right? Because Universal's looking at putting Trolls on right off the bat, because they're going to get hit hard, because with France shut down, Minions is not finished.
Oh.
So that movie's been delayed because just for that fact, it's not because they're afraid of their release date. They can't make their release date because they got shut down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's lots of things like that happening. Mulan's moved, Black Widow's moved, everything's getting moved on, put on a TBA schedule. Universal was like, put Fast 9 in next year. They were just like, next May, whatever. Wait it out a year.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are getting pushed off so that, you know, we have our social distancing and everything.
Yeah.
So with that, we jumped into the Blumhouse reimagining. I'm not going to call it a reboot or a remake. It's a reimagining of The Invisible Man, Universal's monster universe. Because Universal was the studio that really defined horror back in the day.
Yeah.
They brought monsters to the screen.
Right?
That's their studio was built off of the terror that was brought in those old black and white movies, because back then those movies were scary.
Yes.
And they terrified people, and people fainted and vomited and ran to the hills. And you know,
it's such a weird thing to think about, because now, I mean, we can show kiddo those, not a problem.
Yeah, right? We're like
the Wolfman and everything like that. I remember when we watched that, and it was just no big deal. Or Frankenstein,
because they're all like pretty much non-rated. They're G movies.
Yeah,
right.
And it's interesting because the horror is then just the concept of us not being able to be okay with the way someone is acting.
Yeah, it's the idea that someone is doing a horrific deed, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much like horror as in the grotesque.
Yeah.
Right? But I guess they were grotesque creatures that were horrific in nature.
Yes.
Right? So it's interesting to see how that film genre has changed.
It's such a different genre. It has added so many subgenres. It has evolved so much with our world, and they're more thriller based with horrific elements or horrific characters, right?
And I think that's too is that there's so much, especially with say video on demands or Netflix and all that, where stuff goes directly to it, and they don't really have the same beats and all that, where you get a lot more of the schlocky B, C, D, F, you know, horror movies that are just splatterpunk, grotesque. And I think you get into ones that actually follow those old school rules, where people think, well, this is not scary. This isn't horrific. Why didn't I see intestines, or why didn't something burst from that man's head?
This has some more art to it, or something.
You know, it's just that almost idea that, you know, anything can be horrific but not fit in a crime drama, or it's the acts that are portrayed in it that are, you know, out of the norm.
Well, I think to me, the idea of thrill and suspense is more important for a horror movie than guts and gore, right? You know, because otherwise it's not, it's almost a more intense drama essentially than anything. And that's what the old ones were, right?
Yeah. So basically what happened was The Mummy was rebooted again with Tom Cruise, and
I really enjoyed it.
You know, it was a fun movie for what it was. It was an action movie.
Yeah.
And it fit into that kind of Marvel mold that what it was. But people didn't enjoy it. People were very, very much, they missed their Brendan Fraser. And so it tanked. Yeah. So they had this whole idea that they were going to try to make a monster dark universe that was going to be like a Marvel universe. And it failed horribly. Yeah. So they went to Jason Blum and his production company and said, hey, we want to make more monster movies.
Save us,
help us. Yeah. And so Blumhouse has a way of making movies economically that turn a profit.
Yeah.
So The Invisible Man was like a $7 million movie. You know, the writer and director was Lionel Winnell. I can't say his name. Yeah. Lee Winnell.
It was Lee.
Yeah, Lee Winnell.
Or Lay or something like that.
But he is the creator of Saw, right? And he also did Upgrade the other year.
Oh yeah.
And he also worked on Insidious, and you know, so he's close friends with James Wan. He actually has a cameo in Aquaman. He's the pilot.
Okay. He's definitely a horror. Yeah. Like our modern day horror field.
Yeah. So you think right off the bat, you're like, oh my goodness, like this guy that helped create Saw, you know, where are we going with this, right? And Upgrade was very violent as well. So turn to The Invisible Man. So The Invisible Man is just a complete reimagining of the idea you have a scientist that creates something
Yeah.
that turns him invisible and he uses that power, and that power corrupts.
Well, yeah, I think there's two ways you could take something being an invisible man. Either you are instilling fear in other people's lives because you can watch them, you can invade their privacy, you can cause things to happen without them knowing, or the concept that you yourself are invisible and you cannot interact with the world, and it's that fear of not being seen.
Yeah.
There's two different ways to do it, and this one chose the causing fear and panic were other people's lives, and how we can manipulate things and cause events to happen without consequence. And that's, to me, is a pretty good monster.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, at the end of the day, I highly recommend spending that $20 to see this movie.
Very much so.
It hit those beats so well, and it's not a gore fest. It's not super scary.
No. There's creepy moments.
It's not a jump scare, but what's scary is how all the events unfold and where they take it with using technology. It almost seems plausible.
Yeah, it's unnerving that you're like, this could exist in our world even, you know? It's not super science fiction.
No.
Which is what's creepy.
Yeah, right? So they're able to take an old idea and make it fresh and new for this world. And it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked so good.
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth Moss, right?
Yeah.
She does such a great job because she plays someone, that drama and that worry really, really well, and just super strung out looking and at her wit's end, and totally broken, physically, mentally, just exhausted. And then she can come around and be really scary and in control and, decisive. And she did a really good job playing that role for sure.
Yeah, I was mesmerized through the movie. It was definitely like, this was a good movie, not just necessarily a horror movie, but just a good movie.
Yeah, from
start to finish.
Well, and it made you want to see how it was going to end. It was suspenseful because you wanted to see how they were going to have it all turn out. Yeah, and because we were watching and we're like, there's still like an hour left. Like, what's going to be going on? Okay, so there's more going on with this, and this was really interesting. It kept our attention. So
I was totally on for the ride. I hope that Blumhouse is able to hit lightning again. They're talking about they're going to be making a Dracula and a Frankenstein as well to follow these kind of module that they're building.
Let's hope.
Because if they're able to do that and make these monsters seem, real again.
Well, and I think that's the thing is when they were originally made, it was outside of the realm, but not completely impossible for back then, right? No. So that's what you need right now is you need something that seems just enough impossible.
Right.
And
it's different enough that it doesn't tarnish anything that came before it, because it is a different enough story with using just the same names and the same idea of science.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the reality. Science fiction, we almost equate that now to being space.
Yeah.
But science fiction doesn't have to be just space now, right? There's still a lot of things that we don't have control or anything with science-based technology and feel.
Anything too back in the day, especially with the wars and all that, there was a lot of like more human testing. So like the idea of creating an invisible man through a super serum was more plausible.
Yes.
Now we're just always looking about what's the next technology.
Yes.
Right. What's the next? How are we going to be able to do this and blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like when it comes to Frankenstein and Dracula, they fit into such basic human, I don't want to say desires, but worry and philosophical questions about the idea of death and a soul and our fear of death itself and our control over our bodies and all of that type of stuff and lust in general as well. All of these very core emotions. Yeah. And I think that they could easily make a story that still fits in those because those ideas haven't gone away yet.
No, not at all.
And we can find a new way to do it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like you could even like Dracula, Dracula would work with the music aspect, with how much, we just fall in love and trust whoever's the hottest song or all that, right? And that idea that coming over from a foreign land to bring their music into, you could, and people willing to do anything to get with this celebrity, right? Kind of feel. Like, I think that would be almost a way.
You could almost even pull like social media into it.
Yeah, or even like influencer, even, right? Like
how easily it would be to gain fame and popularity and have everyone want to be with you.
Yeah, and be willing to sneak around to be with this person and do things for this person, like the Renfield aspect, right?
Yeah,
and I even thought like, okay, well, if you take those same ideas, like Frankenstein almost needs to be a bit more of like the medical student, science student that someone dies close to them and they try to piece them back together.
That fear of not letting go.
Yeah, and bringing a monster to life.
Yeah.
More in that realm, right? Because you're not going to have the big windmill with the lightning bolt, right?
No. It's going to be science-based. It's going to be more of that concept of... Well, because with Frankenstein too, make it more... It's Frankenstein's monster, but Frankenstein himself creates his own... He turns himself into a monster.
He's the monster.
He's the monster, exactly. Because what he is doing is monstrous and horrific, right? Because you are playing with that life and death, and we as humans want to play with life and death all the time.
Yeah.
And, the concept of not letting a loved one pass and rest is selfish in our own right. Mm-hmm. And so what horrible things can come out of being selfish and trying to play with life, opposed to being accepting of the natural order of things, right? Yeah. And when we are unaccepting of the natural order of things, bad things happen. And that is a basic core principle and concept for everyday life almost, right? So
those are my ideas of how it could be plausible in today's world, right?
Yeah.
Like how you can make it, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, but we'll see what happens, see where they go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that they're able to continue creating something awesome, because Blumhouse has a decent track record for creating some pretty good movies. They have hit and misses like any studio.
Yeah.
But I think they're able to handle those misses more because their movies don't cost a lot of money.
Yeah, so they can roll with it a little bit more, and they just bounce back, and they don't put all their entire studio behind one movie where it's going to break down.
Yeah, because they bring out like 6 a year almost.
Yeah,
and you don't realize that Blumhouse made that, right?
Yeah.
So
there you go. Look at that.
There we have it.
All sorts of fun things.
That was our spring break. I definitely recommend watching The Invisible Man.
Out of everything that we talked about, that one you should go see it for sure.
Yeah, because it's just fantastic. Another plug I'm gonna always plug is The Owl House. We keep watching that show and it keeps getting funnier. It's on Disney XD.
Yeah, we watched a couple episodes of that this morning. I know you loved the end credits for the one.
The one, yeah.
It was talking about Ida and her old the old escapades when she was in high school and the problems that she did, and it was like a case file for all her stuff. And
the one I screenshotted it. Incident 5523 at 1300 hours. Edeline Clawthorne of Potions Track let loose a pack of feral ghosts in the girls' locker room. They flew around in circles, predicting students' doom and shouting horrible puns like, "What's a ghost's favorite pie? Booberry." We called in a ragtag team of ghost blasters to clean them out, but they accidentally opened a door to the ghost dimension, which threatened to overtake the city.
And that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. And that, we had to pause it. Luckily, thank goodness for PVR right there.
We were able to pause. You weren't able to catch all of them, right?
And there's so many weird, funny, bizarre moments in this thing, and I love it. And there's a really good heart and concept, and I want to know what's going on with Ida and her curse that she has, and there's just enough of an overlying story to really make you want to keep watching, right?
Yeah, and demons and shit.
I mean, what else could you want?
Seriously, I remember when it first came out and there was all this hooey about the fact that, Disney's making a show with witchcraft and demons and all that. And I'm just over here oh, really? Well, hello there.
I'm in.
And we watched it, and I'm just like, yes.
Well, you know what, though? It is still a mystical world. They don't exist on the human dimension.
Yeah.
So
They're on the
this is
boiling isles.
pure fantasy, people. So I love every moment of it. Like,
it's fantastic. I want a
So
little
good.
king stuffed animal.
yes.
The Owl House. Check that one out.
Yes.
If you want to laugh, you want something quirky and weird that's worth your time.
Because, if you love Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
And-
Alex Hirsch plays the king. He plays Hootie.
Yep.
And Dana Terrence, she worked on Gravity Falls. A lot of the ones that worked on Gravity Falls are working on this show.
Yeah, so if you like Gravity Falls, there is zero reason why you shouldn't like this show, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's awesome.
And we're getting excited because DuckTales is coming back.
Yes.
Season 3. The trailer that dropped, Goofy from Goof Troop is going to be in it. We're also seeing Steelbeak from, Darkwing. So I'm excited for cartoons. So we'll see what happens over this next week. I think we're going to be planning a little bit better for Spring Break Part 2.
Yeah.
I'm going back to school via web. So that'll be interesting.
So wish everyone luck. I think the whole world, we could use some luck right now.
Yeah. It's all going to be crazy. So we'll see what happens. But you know what I've been trying to do with most of my social media, because a lot of people caught up in all the news, I've been trying to post a lot more like nature from some of the walks I've been taking. I've been taking my pops outside, doing some really nice shots that way to try to like promote beauty and happiness, because as much as there's things to wonder about in our world, we also got to remember that for our own mental health, we can't just get sucked into the doom and gloom, because it'll consume us.
Yeah.
And we won't be able to see the beauty that is still out there.
Well, part of, we need to have anything immunity boosting, and immunity boosting is also the concept of wanting to continue and having hope, caring enough to take care of ourselves and the other people around us, and listening to recommendations that will help promote health for our planet and our people, and reminding ourselves of all of that. And stress, and I've been guilty of it too. It's one thing to know about what's going on in the world, and it's another thing to obsess about it so much that we whip ourselves into a frenzy. And stress is absolutely horrible for immunity, so that isn't going to help anything. So nature and help, right?
And share some beauty on your social media. Do something creative.
Yeah.
Don't get sucked into just all the COVID memes and news. Find the things that will uplift all the people, because that's what we can do. We're all supposed to stay home. So instead of just flooding feeds with doom, fill them with beauty to help.
Yeah, give us help and a positivity of dealing with the fact that we're been taken out of our normal everyday lives and our normal schedules and our normal plans, and maybe away from the people that have given us a break from some of the monotony of the world. And
share the things that make you laugh, because guess what? Laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah, and we need to think of that now, right? So,
and that's what we can do. Laughter is the best medicine, and as Rob Paulson said, the refills are free and you can't OD. So find what makes you laugh and find some fun. We need that. We need people to smile, and like All Might, right? If they don't see you smiling, something's wrong. Yeah. So find the joy.
There you go.
That's my little PSA for the day.
There you go.
Find your joy. Take some self-care.
Deep thoughts.
That's because that's what we need. We need to just keep going on. Yeah. So, and be that positive light and stay rad.
Be excellent to each other.
Right?
More than anything.
Be excellent to each other. Realize that we're all in this together.
Yeah. No one is
we
beyond
can't
this.
Still find tofu. So just saying.
Suddenly people are like,
everybody went vegan.
It's funny. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone.
As I say, stay rad, dudes.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!